4 games in, and the main series shows no sign of decline. So far, we've had 4 games that are all some form of good, decent at the very, very worst. Here we are approaching the final Rayman game in the main series ever released. After this title's release, the series was once again on hard times. It's not even due to a specific reason like the gap between Rayman 3 and Rayman Origins, where Ubisoft thought that it would be better to push spin-off characters in their former flagship franchise. The dread that succeeded this game seemed to come about for no reason at all. It just seemed that Ubisoft just stopped caring about Rayman completely out of the blue. Since the beginning of the previous decade, when the future of the series seemed brighter than the sun itself, all we got from then on were a handful of ports, 2 spin-offs, and the rare mention of the series from Ubisoft. I can't wrap my head around why such a beloved series got left for dead so suddenly, but I can say it went out with a massive bang. Today, the Rayman retrospective ends. We're taking a deep dive into the last mainline Rayman game ever released, Rayman Legends. Not a whole lot is known about the game's production, so the little development history bit I do at the start of every Rayman video is going to be rather brief this time around. Unlike other games in the series, Rayman Legends' existence was not confirmed by any official means, but by a leak from a market research survey with an early trailer for the game. Oops! Ubisoft attempted to stop the leaks, but it had already spread like wildfire throughout the internet, and eventually they just gave up and confirmed the game was real. Initially, Rayman Legends was slated for only a single platform, the Nintendo Wii U. At first, Legends was even part of the Wii U's launch lineup, initially set to release alongside the console in November of 2012, but it was eventually delayed to the beginning of 2013, still exclusive to the Wii U. However, later on, Ubisoft didn't think that the game would perform well due to the console's low install base, so the decision was made to delay the game one more time to late summer 2013 in order to bring the game to the other platforms at the time. Finally, the game was first released in Europe on August 29, 2013 for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii U, and Windows. It also received a pretty hearty dose of ports after release, starting soon after the initial game released with a PlayStation Vita version that came out on September 12, 2013. The series would receive its very first place on the 8th console generation with enhanced ports for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which released on February 20th, 2014. These ports boasted uncompressed visual assets and a complete removal of loading screens. The game would receive one last major port, titled Rayman Legends Definitive Edition, which released for the Nintendo Switch on September 12, 2017. This version lost the uncompressed assets and regained loading screens, but brought together all console-exclusive costumes and added more than 100 additional TNTs to save extra versions of the Murphy stage that used the touchscreen in handheld mode. The 2014 versions of the Switch versions come out on top depends on your personal preference, but that's not what this video is about. I will be reviewing one of the original versions on the PlayStation 3. The story begins with Bubble Dreamer informing Murphy that nightmares are once again invading the Glade of Dreams, including 5 evil magicians that serve as the game's main antagonists. Murphy wakes up Rayman and the rest of the crew, and it's up to our heroes to defeat the magicians by sending them to the moon. That's it. Congratulations, the most basic story of all time. It basically boils down to bad guys are bad, you defeat bad guys. Nothing interesting happens, at all. Also, why are there 5 of these guys? In Origins, it was very clear that this guy was singular, and now there's just 5 of them for literally no reason. Not even 5 distinct magicians, it's just 5 of this guy. Well, at least Murphy is actually properly relevant to the main story for once, which is pretty cool. Heavily brightening up for a bit, good gravy, this game looks so good. Origins looked good with how it looked like a playable cartoon. Legends looks like a playable piece of art. The environments and backgrounds look so good, man. The lighting, too. It is so fluorescent and vibrant, and just about every single thing in this game looks fantastic. The UBR engine used in Origins has also been upgraded to include 3D models, and they really make the scenes that are featured in pop unlike anything else in the game. They're rocking respectable polygon counts, detailed textures, and smooth animations, and all of this action on screen is seen without a hitch, all at 1080p and 60 frames per second at all times. The music is also pretty good, but a whole lot more atmospheric and a lot less melodic than Origins soundtrack. Not bad, but overall I prefer Origins music. Legends looks and sounds incredibly polished and high quality. It feels like a true modernized version of Rayman 1's visual aspects. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the gameplay, and oh, this game controls so well. Like, I didn't mention this in my Origins video, but there was this weird quirk in Origins where kicking in the air would kill all of your momentum. In Legends, completely gone. Kicking in the air is actually a great way to keep your speed, and good god, it feels so good to pull off. Literally, the single solitary problem I had with how Origins controls has been turned into one of the best things about how Legends controls. It's such a good thing. It also controls just as fluidly as Origins did, in other words, phenomenally, and I can't tell you how much more fun it makes this game to play because of how good it controls. For what I believe as a series first, you don't have to regain all of your abilities, and can I just say thank you finally? After 4 games, I know this whole shebang like the back of my hand by now. Give me my whole moveset, let's do this thing. You have all of your punchy stuff, and all of your glidey stuff, and all of your wall running stuff from the get-go, and your moveset hasn't really changed too much from Origins. There is still something new to help you though. That sweep kick from Origins, which was a practically useless ability and something I was only made aware of due to one trophy that it required it, was replaced with a slam move that can pull weeds out of the ground. Usually they're turnips that can score you a few extra lums when destroyed, but sometimes they reveal cages or enemies when pulled. The game's core new gameplay feature is Murphy. Not a new character by any means, a series mainstay since Rayman 2 actually, but he's been upgraded from his role as Mr. Tutorial in prior installments to one where he helps the player in a far more meaningful way. In the stages he appears in, Murphy can mess with various stage elements to assist you, ranging from moving platforms, cutting ropes, to rotating structures, blocking the spotlights of an elaborate security system, spreading guacamole to make platforms or covering lava flows, eating cake to make a path for the player, or making an enemy let their guard down by tickling them, allowing you to defeat them. It's an interesting mechanic that sets the game apart from other platformers, but shows up in the perfect amount. It doesn't show up infrequently enough for me to forget about it, and it doesn't show up too frequently for me to get sick of it. This is a major difference between versions. The initially intended Wii U version makes heavy use of the touchscreen on the Wii U's gamepad controller for these actions. You would be tapping and sliding with your finger to do everything as Murphy, and when you're playing alone, control is diverted exclusively to Murphy, with a computer player taking control of the blowbox to do all the platforming. On the other consoles, it's changed so that a simple press or hold does these actions instead. Works well enough, but there are some points where it's blatantly apparent that it was designed for a touchscreen. Not a bad thing per se, just something I noticed while playing. Like for example, on Wii U, you would physically draw lines to create the guacamole paths, whereas in other versions, Murphy just simply rotates around the other parts of the wall, allowing you to press the button when he's near the point you want to draw a path. It's perfectly serviceable, and I can't think of any better way to do this without touch, but it's really obvious as it's a gimmick designed for the Wii U gamepad touchscreen. One thing Rayman Legends excels at is variety. In Origins, there were 2 core gameplay styles, platforming and shooting. In Rayman Legends, you constantly experience something new in every area. Platforming, chase levels, a ton of variety with the Murphy levels, a maze that doesn't hurt me, and there's even a boss battle in every world this time, not just half of them. And every world is unique, not repeats like last time, even if there's only about half the worlds that there were in Origins. A few things from Origins have been dropped, well, kind of, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The mosquito shooting stages are absent in this one, and the treasure chest chases have also been done away with, but replaced with something far cooler. Instead of chasing a treasure chest, you play a level synced up to a music track. Every action must be timed to the music for the player to succeed, and I'm not the first person to say this, but these are the best levels in the game. Every action music is perfectly timed for a spectacle on both a visual and gameplay level. Not to mention it's just a clever and innovative idea. A highlight in a game full of highlights. On top of that, the game also has a few minor online features. Not something like online co-op, although that would have been awesome. Instead, we have 4 sets of online challenges. Daily challenges, which reset every day, weekly challenges, which reset every week, and daily and weekly extreme challenges that are very hard to score well in, so I hope you like getting bronze cups. Depending on how high up in the leaderboard you are at the end of the challenge period, you'll get trophies that give you more points to increase your awesomeness level. These are fun, but kind of pointless in the long run. I mean, if you want to play this game on a daily basis, here you go. And if you want to get every achievement or trophy, you will play this every day. As for the content, Rayman Legends brings a lot of it. 5 main worlds with a good amount of stages, a secret 6th world with harder versions of the rhythm stages. You can collect these little creatures for the purpose of collecting these little creatures. And a vast majority of the levels from Rayman Origins are remade and available in Legends, you know, for the funsies. You even have an additional multiplayer versus mode in Kung Fu, which is a soccer or football, don't yell at me, minigame where two teams compete to score the most goals, and this is genuinely one of the most fun multiplayer things I've played in a good long time. In terms of the main game, it's very similar to Origins, but more polished. Lums no longer get used cages, but instead trophies, because you need even more things to collect in this game. In Legends, cages contain teensies again, like in Rayman 3. All the cages are found in the levels themselves, with 2 cages hidden behind special challenge rooms, and the rest out in the open. There's a whole lot more of these too. In Rayman Origins, there was about 200 or so elections to collect. In Legends, Jesus Christ, 700 to collect, the most overwhelmingly large amount of collectibles in series history. Collecting certain amounts of teams to unlock new worlds, and these amounts are really small. You can unlock the 5th world very easily, so don't worry about it. There are 5 main worlds, but no theme repeats, so that's good. Teen Two's in Trouble is a medieval-themed world that begins in the forest and progresses into a castle area later on. Toad's story takes place in the treetops, with plenty of air gusts for you to fly through. Fiesta de los Muertos is a Day of the Dead and food-themed world. 20,000 Lums Under the Sea is inspired by spy movies with a stealth-based gameplay hook, and is the best area. And Olympus Maximus is themed after Greek mythology. Every world is distinct and memorable and has mechanics that set themselves apart from each other. No 2 stages are exactly alike, and when the game has this many levels, that's great. Boss battles are also in every world now. Finally! These are all very fun and unique, and are a great way to cap off these worlds. They're also all 3D models, which is cool. All of the Origins levels look and play better than ever, and all the original levels are great in their own unique ways, and there really is not a lot wrong with how it plays. It's kinda short, but there's enough side content to make up for it. Overall, Rayman Legends is brilliant. The dev team took a fantastic game and blew it out of the water. The visuals, masterful. Origins' great control has been somehow improved. More or less 2 games worth of content is included. The levels are well designed, and the game remains delightful and fun throughout. The story is pretty uninteresting, but aside from that, I can't think of a whole lot I dislike in Rayman Legends. It's something I'm genuinely willing to call a platforming masterpiece. This could very well end up being the last mainline Rayman game for an extremely long time, but at least we got a game this darn good out of it. If you ask me, this is the best game Rayman's ever starred in. That's why my final score for Rayman Legends is a perfect 10 out of 10. There's a lot to love about this game and not much to dislike. You are really missing out a ton by skipping this title. So that was my Rayman series review retrospective. I hope you enjoyed my in-depth look at this strange series of games. It's unfortunate that we're approaching a drought as long as the one between 3 and Origins, but I don't think Rayman will be truly forgotten anytime soon, even if it feels like Ubisoft has already gotten to that point. But hey, you never know. Maybe we'll get something that in the spin-off for the 25th anniversary this year, but knowing Ubisoft, they'll probably find some way to port Legends or Rayman 1 again. Still, thank you for watching. If you like these videos or the other videos on my account, please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like these, and comment to tell me what you thought about all of this. But until next time, this has been blueblur98, signing off.